absolutely love real estate and really excited to present to you. Very different, very unique from perhaps where you guys are sitting right now in your local area, is a market that Marshall Reddick and our organization have been very active in for the greater part of about 10 years, and that's the Indianapolis, Indiana market. Some of you that I can see on the list here have been to our presentations before. You might already be a little bit familiar with how we select our markets. Indianapolis, of course, is the capital. It's in a state that actually has a state surplus, believe it or not. Very, very, very job friendly. It's a major metropolitan market. Didn't really get affected too much by the downturn, which you're going to see during the presentation. We have some excellent graphs and data from National Association of Realtors to show you how this market has performed over the last 26 years. And I think you'll be shocked to see that it really didn't get affected too heavily by the recession. And I think that's because of the economy there. It wasn't really a market that was over-speculated. It's a very, very, very affordable market, and there's a lot of job growth. So I'm, of course, here at the Marshall Reddick office tonight in Newport Beach, California. And on the call tonight, we've got Ed New, who is our regional rep, and he is sitting in his office in Indianapolis right now. So he's a few hours ahead of us, but really excited to talk about real estate tonight. We've also got Ivan Barrett, our preferred property manager, on the call with us. So he's going to talk about the rental market in Indianapolis. He's going to give his 2 cents on what it's like to own property and use a property manager like him that does all the screening and the background checks. Ivan is a very, very knowledgeable and very experienced property manager, owns a lot of real estate himself, so we've got a really good team. And then last but not least, I'm also sitting here with Kristen Tabar, who is a Marshall Reddick Real Estate Advisor, who will be answering some of your questions that you guys type in. She will be assisting you after the webinar. If you have more questions or you want to look at some of the properties in more detail, you guys will probably be emailing or having phone conversations with Kristen. Kristen, really quick, I just want to mention she actually owns 2 properties of her own in Indianapolis, which is amazing. So we're all a team here, and we're here to support you guys, and we're going to provide you with a lot of excellent information. One thing I want to mention before we get started, if this is your first time on a webinar or if it's been a while, you have a little section on your control panel that says questions. You can type in questions, any question at all you have, and we'll either answer it live. Kristen might answer it through text, or we might even be able to get to a few of those on the presentation towards the end. We'd be happy to ask your questions to Ed or to Ivan, our property manager, and cover as much as possible. So what I'm going to do now is a little different than what we normally do. I'd like to get a better idea for some of you that are on the webinar tonight, and we're going to do a poll. It's only going to take a second. We've got a few polls throughout the presentation. I think they're really fun, and I'll be able to share the data. Of course, it's anonymous. It's not going to show your name, but it'll show the percentages of people that click different multiple choice questions. So I promise it's really easy. It's really fun. So I'm going to start off with our very first poll. So you should see in front of you a question that says, which best describes you? And you can select, obviously, one answer. I don't own any investment property. I do own investment property, but not in Indianapolis yet. A little humor there. And then lastly, I own property in Indianapolis with 3 exclamation marks because you're so excited and proud to own property in Indy. So I'll give you guys about maybe 10 more seconds. It looks like most of you have already answered, and I think the votes are in. 86% of you have answered. So there's 14% of you that might have run to the bathroom, and you're going to miss this one, but that's okay. So we'll be able to see here. So 33% of you don't own any investment property yet, and I like your ambition there. 42% of you own investment property, but not in Indianapolis yet. And then 1 out of 4 people on the webinar already own property in Indianapolis. That is really cool. I'd say a pretty even percentage of you. And if you don't own any investment property yet, that's totally fine. I would spend as much time as possible talking to Kristen here about how to get started, or what are some of the common mistakes to avoid, or how to set your criteria. She can spend time with you doing that. Really cool to see that a quarter of you already own property in Indy, and I'm excited about you guys having the opportunity to work with Ed and work with Ivan and work with us on some of the properties that we're going to share with you tonight. And then those of you that own property but not in Indy yet, I think you're going to find that the cash flows are extremely high compared to most markets. A lot of the properties we're going to show are already rent ready, and then we've got a variety of single family and multifamily properties to share with you. So I am very confident that you'll see some properties that you like. So let me get back to introducing our regional rep, Mr. Ed New. So way back in 2005, I had started working with Marshall Reddick Real Estate, and we joke around because that's actually the year that I got started, and I can remember 2005 was a very crazy time at the top of the market, people buying property like crazy. Ed and I kind of interacted a little bit, but didn't really get to know each other too well back then. And then about a year ago, we were actually reintroduced to each other through a Marshall Reddick investor who owns several properties in Indianapolis, and he said, "Hey, do you know this real estate agent, Ed New, that I was referred to from a friend?" And he said that he had spent some time working with Ed, and Ed was very professional, spent a lot of time helping him, and great customer service. And all of a sudden, as I'm talking to Ed, we both realized that we had both been working together back about 10 years ago. So Ed is a really nice guy overall. He's fun to work with. He owns a lot of property himself in Indianapolis. He actually started in real estate right around 2000, so he's got about 15 years of experience in real estate. And he specializes in working with investors, and I think that's very important because when you have your choice of real estate agents, and in any given market there could be hundreds if not thousands, and you're going to have a wide variety of people who are just beginning, don't really know the market too well, don't have any experience working with investors, and Ed's niche is actually to work with investors. So he's a buyer's agent. That means that he has access to any property available in Indianapolis. We obviously can't show every property, so we've hand-selected several single-family and multifamily properties, but that's not everything that we have in Indianapolis. So if you happen to see a property on your own online, Ed could actually visit the property, take a look at it. And of course, you've got Ivan, who helps us occasionally get rent comps and gives us a better idea for types of tenants that the properties will attract. So Ed has flown out here several times. He was just out here, when I say here, I mean SoCal. He was out here in June, did a few events, and I think some of you on the webinar, as I'm seeing the names, actually got a chance to talk to Ed. And then we're geared up to have Ed fly up to Northern California in November, and I can see some of you are also in the Northern California area, and hopefully you'll be able to make those events, which should be posted on our website in the next few weeks. So at this point, I know Ed's got a lot to say about the Indy market. So Ed, thank you so much for joining us, especially since it's almost 10 your time, and we're really excited to hear more about Indianapolis. So take it away.
All right. Scott, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I really just like to say, I appreciate the program that Marshall Reddick offers. I have had the opportunity to be in the business now for the last 15 years. I've worked with, I've worked with hundreds of investors. I've done thousands of transactions. Personally, I've bought and sold over 200 homes myself. But guys, I'm doing what you're doing every day. My job is to help people, including myself, when I can, buy additional properties. The thing I like the most about Marshall Reddick is that they take great pride and care in making sure that everything is as transparent as possible. When Scott and I first started talking, I kind of asked if I could be blunt and honest and say, hey, look, there's going to be times when someone may call me, and once I learn a little bit about them and they start asking me about a particular property, I may say, hey, I don't think you should buy it. Now, if you guys know much about real estate and how we work, I mean, I'm straight commission, but why would I tell someone not to purchase a home? Well, if I don't think it's right for you, I'm going to tell you that, but I'll also tell you why. So hopefully you're going to get the truth out of me. It's important to me to know my client and what you're after, what your goals are, what your objectives. If you're doing this for retirement, you're doing it for cash flow, et cetera, et cetera. If we can get to know each other a little bit, then I'm happy. You don't have to take my opinion, but I'm willing to give it, provided it's asked for. So, with that said, let's kind of move a little bit. Let's talk about Indianapolis and home cash flow. We are a crossroads of America. So that's a picture of our downtown. We're on a circle. Supposedly we've got the largest Christmas tree in the country. So I haven't had anybody dispute that, but whichever way it goes. We are in the center of the nation, center of attention. We've got some professional sports teams. Those of you who follow college football, we took your quarterback from Stanford, a guy named Andrew Luck. Pretty good guy. Looks like we're going to have a great year this year, so we'll see how that goes. Indianapolis Pacers, you guys have probably heard of the Indianapolis 500. We have a professional AAA baseball team here. So there's a lot of things that are happening in Indianapolis. Today we want to talk a little bit about, I told you a little bit about myself, a little bit more briefly. I've got 3 boys. One of them's 20, he's in college. His name's Taylor. I have a 17-year-old senior in high school. His name's Alec. He's probably not doing his homework because I'm not there. And I have a 14-year-old freshman who is smarter than everybody. So my wife and I just recently wound up with guardianship of a 10-year-old girl. So I've got to do the right things. I'm going to be in this for a long time, and I'd love to have the opportunity to meet with you guys. Why Indianapolis? We're going to talk about that today. Real estate and the rental market. Ivan's going to help with some of that. And I picked out some specific properties that I'm very excited about. We really worked hard to negotiate with some builders in this particular case. I want to show you guys. So hope you're going to like what we're going to show. A little bit about my team. That's actually me on the left. That's with my wife. You can see that I clearly married way over my head. A couple of other team members, which you guys may or may not be talking to if you wind up doing business together. I own the business. It's called Me Real Estate Group. I've been at it for 15 years. As I mentioned, I've bought and sold hundreds of homes. I've been involved in thousands of transactions, and I do own real estate. So I think that's important. If we're going to talk the talk, I need to walk the walk. So I personally own single-family homes. I own some multi-units right here in the city, and I use them for cash flow as well as my goal now is for retirement. Of course, all I'm really doing is paying for college and high school at this point. So I got my kids are in private school, and it's expensive. A few things you may have heard, we talked a little bit about. We did have a Super Bowl here back in 2012. I'm going to share with you a little bit later on in the presentation an area that I'm particularly excited about, and I think maybe our property manager, Ivan, may speak to you about it briefly too. The Super Bowl committee, when we hosted that in Indianapolis, spent a lot of money in the downtown area. And as a result of that, there's kind of been a rebirth and rejuvenation. I think I said that right. Anyway, it is an area that is really improving, and there's some excellent opportunity for great cash flow and appreciation. Here's some things you may not have known. We're the 12th largest city in the country. We are actually the amateur sports capital of the world. The NCAA headquarters is here. We're hosting a lot of events, Super Bowl, NCAA Finals, the Brickyard 400, the Grand Prix, and of course the Indianapolis 500. If you kind of look at the picture or the background that you can see, that is our mini marathon. That's hosted each year right prior to the Indianapolis 500, and there's thousands of people that show up and attend that event. It's really, really cool. We have plenty of cultural, educational, sports, shopping, and dining opportunities. Our downtown is really, really exciting. We're the #1 market for real estate investing, according to Inman News and Money Magazine. Here's one of the reasons why. And there's going to be several, and we're going to talk about them briefly, but here's one. If you look at the circle, you can obviously see where Indianapolis is at, but what's important to a lot of major employers, we're 1 day's drive away from all of the cities that you see on the left. So Indianapolis is it's a major hub for companies like FedEx. We're a distribution capital, so there's lots and lots of warehousing and warehouse jobs. Those things are not going away. There are some parts of the Midwest that was really heavy into automotive, and although we have our share of automotive, that's not what where the city's at today. If you're in Detroit, it's going to be a different story. So my message to you guys is there's lots of diversification. Here's some of the businesses that are located in Indy. FedEx does have a hub here. Rolls-Royce, where they make the engines. Eli Lilly is a major drug supplier, and there's thousands of jobs right here in Indianapolis as a result of that. Simon & Property Group is the largest mall owner in the country. Finish Line, you guys have probably heard of. And the list goes on. Hospitals, Roche Diagnostics. Here's some local attractions. The photo on the left, that's right downtown. Our city has spent a lot of time revitalizing. Our baseball team is down there. It's called Victory Field is the field they're playing at. As a matter of fact, my son's football team is going to get to play. They're getting ready to resurface the whole field and tear out the turf and put in new turf. So we're going to allow some high school kids to play a football game there, and I think he's going to be there in a couple of weeks. Carmel, the Monon Trail to the right, that's a really, really cool attraction. That Monon Trail runs from downtown Indianapolis about 25 miles north of the city. So if you wanted to, you could get on a bicycle and go that far. It's been a huge attraction to those people the millennials who like to walk, ride, are exercise conscious. There's plenty of restaurants and that type of thing that have begun to pop up along the Monon Trail. The mini marathon I mentioned earlier, that's something that happens once a year in Indianapolis. Lots of colleges. Indiana University, Purdue University is right here in Indianapolis. Butler, if you follow basketball, we've been to the NCAA finals a couple of times in recent years. Large medical school, IU School of Medicine is here. It's a teaching hospital. University of Indianapolis is also here. So we've got plenty of education, lots of teachers, support, things that go along with that. Why Indy? We'll talk a little bit about the geography, economy, government, some historical data, prices and rental rates. Here's the geography. Indianapolis is, it's not small. You know, we're almost 1.8 million people in the Indianapolis metro area. So we've had a huge population growth since 2000, 15%, a little bit better. That is the, Indianapolis is built on a circle. I don't know if you can see the map to the right. There's a circle. That is our hub, or 465. That's the major interstate. A lot of the homes that we'll be talking about is going to be outside of that loop. That's the area where we've got homes that seem to fit very well for a lot of our clients. Cost of living, this is huge. We're 7.3% below the national average. Our median income is above the national average. Here's a shocker. When I was out in Newport Beach a few months ago, I was talking with some of the investors out there, and I don't remember what it is now, Scott, but I think you guys are close to right around 600,000 in Newport Beach. So our medium price range home is $139,000. So you can buy a few more here than you can buy in Southern California. We're voted the best real estate market by the Wall Street Journal. Yearly, we rank among the best places to live and work in the country. Indianapolis is 5th among the least expensive large cities for doing business. top 10 cities to relocate in 2011-12. So Indianapolis is becoming a destination because we have sports. We've got there's a lot of things to do here besides, and there's great employment. Indiana is a financially secure state. We've created 40,000 new jobs in the last year, and that's second only to Texas. First in top cities for recent graduates. This is a statistic I've just heard about recently, but I think it's really important. Years ago, Indianapolis, they talked about all of the college kids were graduating and they were leaving. They wanted to go somewhere else or live somewhere else. Chicago, New York, Atlanta, the larger cities. Well, that's totally changed because of what our city fathers have done. They've spent time with rebirthing the city and rejuvenating it. So we've got a lot of college graduates now want to move back and live in the metropolitan area. So I think that's pretty exciting for our city and what's happening. Job growth is up. That means tenants are up and there's more opportunity for investors. A little bit about our market. Money Magazine and In the News rate Indianapolis is the #1 city for making money renting homes. Recently, in the last couple of years, we've had some extremely large hedge funds out of California, one of them, come to Indianapolis and buy. One of them purchased as many as, I believe, 3,500 homes. They recognize the opportunity, and that's pretty exciting. They know that the tenant base is here, the jobs are here, and we also have affordable housing. Another important feature, the second bullet point down, is schools. If you're a parent and you've got a couple of kids, obviously I've got 4, that student-to-teacher ratio is really important. I want to make sure my kids are, they've got somebody they're going to pay attention to. So there's only 17.5 kids average per teacher in Indianapolis. We feel like it's a pretty good average. Our property tax rates are below the national average. That goes into an important feature for investors. You want high rents, you want high tenant base, or plenty of tenants available, but you also want to keep your taxes low. That helps improve your cash flow. That's the reason why Indianapolis is a great destination for investors. Plus the median cost of the home is 30% below the national average. That certainly doesn't hurt. Zillow reports show, which is true, our rents are increasing. So the demand is high. The need is there. We need more rental housing in Indianapolis. So you can see in our single family area, which is what this graphic shows, our average rents are nearing $1,200 a month. This is brand new. This is from National Association of Realtors. It talks about appreciation. We are, without question, guys, we're a cash flow state. If you want great cash flow, this is where you want to be. If you want appreciation, we're not going to be, there's no gambling involved here. It's not kind of a roll of the dice where sometimes that can happen on the east or the west coast. And I'm not picking on anything, it's just kind of is what it is. Indianapolis is very slow and steady. You can see over the last, well, since 1989, we've had gradual appreciation. Right now our market is up. So that will continue to happen, and that's a 30-year trend. Here's the city, of course, again. Some of these areas we'll talk about, Brownsburg, Avon. I've got some product to show you here in just a moment to talk about that. Oops, Scott, I think I need to turn it back over to you right now because we've got another poll to talk about.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it, and a lot of good content that you went over. And so what we'll do now is another poll, and it's always good. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one. So I'll go ahead and get that one launched here. And so for this one, it'd be really interesting to see with everybody on the webinar, which, by the way, I didn't mention, we've got a little bit over 40 people, so we've got a pretty good sample of our investors on the webinar tonight. Which one is most important to you? Now, this one might be tough because for some of you, they're all important, but try to choose the one that you think is just absolutely the most important to you. We've got the rent to price ratio, so how much is the purchase price compared to the monthly rent. Of course, school district ratings, if that's most important to you, what the vacancy rate is, your overall return on investment, which is basically what you'd have as an annual return after you sell the property, and that's what you make in cash flow, appreciation, principal pay down, and then paying off your selling expenses. So really what you're left with, and then the dollar amount that you're making on a monthly basis for cash flow. So I'll give you guys a few more seconds to fill that out. I love seeing answers change. That's so interesting to me. But I'd probably be the same because they're all pretty important. I didn't put any like, what do you call, like just fillers in here. I think I made this one kind of tough. So, all right. So 80% of you voted. So one or few of you might still be stuck in the bathroom. I hope you're okay. So, all right. I think we've got. Oh, all right. I should have played the Jeopardy theme. Ed, next time I'm going to have you hum the Jeopardy theme, okay?
We could all be in trouble if I need to sing.
All right. Okay, I think that looks good. We're at 90% voted now, which is awesome. All right. So let's take a look. Looks like the winner was return on investment, which is what I personally probably would have gone for too. But everybody's a little bit different. It looks like the second number 2 was 28% of you are looking for that cash flow amount that you're making on a monthly basis, the highest cash flow possible, which I totally understand is also very important. And of course, vacancy rates and school district ratings both got 17% of you, and then rent to price ratio at 6%. So obviously, I think most of us can agree that these are all pretty important. I just thought it would be really neat to see for those of you on here which would be the most important. So I appreciate you guys giving us your feedback on that. And I'm going to give it back to Ed. And Ed, on that last slide, you were covering the townships. Would you mind taking maybe just another minute or two, giving us kind of an overview of where you like to look? I know some of the properties we have tonight are in Noblesville. We have a multi-unit in Center Township, and then we've got some brand new construction duplexes in Brownsburg. Maybe you can give us an idea. I know I just kind of gave the cat, out of the bag on that one, but maybe you can give us an idea of where some of the properties are that we show and a difference between the areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I backed up a screen, if that's okay. So, Scott, can you see my cursor moving?
Yeah. Yep, okay. We can see it.
Okay, so here's a little more info about the city. If you start right here in the center, Indianapolis is a little over 100 years old. So if you were to go right downtown and find a home that was still there, most of it's turned into concrete, but there's definitely still some homes. A lot of those are going to be built late 1800s, early 1900s. So some of them are varying conditions. The further out you go, inside this loop right here, everyone can see that. That loop, most of the homes there are built, especially inside the loop, are built in about the 60s. So if 1800, let's say you got 10, 12 blocks in any direction, you're gonna add 5 to 10 years. So we're gonna be in the 40s, somewhere in here, and up in here we're gonna be in the 60s. There's a lot of smaller ranch-style homes that were built in the 60s, primarily due to military that was returning home from Vietnam, and they needed to have affordable housing. Jump across 465, which used to be way out in the middle of nowhere, and all that's filled in. These homes were built in the 70s. So you can kind of begin to see the picture. The further out you go in any direction, that's our urban, that's our growth. And probably 25 years ago, you guys maybe have heard the term urban flight or urban blight. Well, the blight was down here and everyone left. Now what's happened is further you get away from the city, there's a lot of jobs where people need to come back downtown to Indianapolis because that's where the center's at, the business center's at. So Carmel is a very good area. This county right here, which is called Hamilton County, a few years ago was the fastest growing county in the state of Indiana. In fact, it was the #1 growing county in the country. And like any city, we developed some problems with that. One of those was schools. They lagged a little bit behind. We had so many rooftops going in that we didn't have enough schools to support it, so they really pushed and built a tremendous number of schools, and these schools are all very good, state-of-the-art. They're brand new. This area probably grew first. This area toward the west side of the city, in the recent years, taken off. There's a lot of opportunity over here. What you're going to find is some of this right through this area, if you guys can see, was kind of farm country. There was just not a lot of homes there. But once this moved out, it made more sense to go west because you could be closer to the city. There's a very good highway system that runs through Indianapolis. Pretty much anywhere in this city, anything you can see right here that I'm hovering over, you can get to point A to point B in about 30 minutes. So I live somewhere up in, actually right over, see McCordsville? I live right here. So I can get to, oops, what did I do? I can get to the airport, which is right out here, in about 30 minutes. So, you know, if you talk to someone who lives in Indy, say, where are you? Well, I'm about 30 minutes away, because that's pretty much true regardless of where you live. We're going to show you some product over here in Brownsburg. This is an area that is a lot of newer homes. The schools are following. Usually what happens in any kind of development is generally the houses go first, then the schools and the municipalities begin, and commercial comes afterwards. Things like strip centers, grocery stores, and etc. There's a brand new mall out here that's probably 7 or 8 years old now called Metropolis. You guys can check it out. It's a pretty cool area, and the duplex product that we're going to offer is fairly close to that. What else? Hopefully that's kind of helpful to give you guys a little bit of information, a little bit more about our city. Let's move on. If we've got some questions, I'm happy to answer any of them. Let's talk about some property. So we're going to show you some rent-ready turnkey stuff, new construction, and then some single-family duplexes. I actually have a fourplex. So here's what I think we're all after. I picked a home that is up in Noblesville. Noblesville, Indiana is a suburb of Indianapolis. It's on the north side. It is in Hamilton County, which is our fastest growing county. Excellent school system, and very affordable. A couple things to look at here. This home is 2,200 square feet. It was built in 2000, so it's about 15 years old. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. A couple things, and we should ask Ivan this, but I believe my experience has been I like 2 stories better than 1-story ranch homes. For some reason, I think you can get a little bit more rent out of those. Maybe it's because mom and dad can shove the kids upstairs and they can be downstairs and have some peace and quiet. I'm not sure, but that's my story. I'm sticking to that one. Let's talk about a little bit about the price, and we're going to go down the column here. So the asking price on this home is $159,900. This would be the down payment from our preferred lender. This is your approximate closing cost. Here's the amount of capital needed to make this purchase. Rents on this home are $1,425 a month. With an interest rate that we receive from our lender at 4.375, this would be your payment, and that would be principal and interest. I've calculated the taxes, which, by the way, in Indiana, it's pretty easy because they're all the same. They're 2%. So, and that 2% is calculated by deducting out the cost of the land, and the remaining 80% is what you would actually assess the tax against. So you're going to have a tax amount of $213.20 in this case. Insurance from our insurance providers at $60 a month. Management fee of $104. The HOA fee, Homeowners Association, is $21. What that's going to take care of is going to be snow removal. It's going to be common areas where there's grass or things to make the community and the area look nice. There's going to be some lighting in the evening to keep those common areas lit for safety purposes and that type of thing. So at the end of it, here's your, out of the $1,400 a month in rent, your monthly expenses would be $998. That's going to leave over $400 a month in cash flow, $427 a month. Now, in order to be conservative, one of the things that, and this is what I really mentioned at the very beginning that I like so much about Marshall Reddick, is they want you guys to know everything. You should consider that at some point in your future, it may not be year 1, it might not be year 2, it could be year 6, that you could have some sort of maintenance on the home. And most likely, if you're a landlord, you own property, at some point your property is going to go vacant. So for at least some period of time, a tenant moves out, etc. So these are some figures that we use just to give you an idea of what you should be calculating. This is money that's going to be in your bank account. So same thing with, well, here's your leasing fees. So these things would be showing up in your bank account, but hold on to it. This is what you should anticipate your monthly cash flow to be. So you'll receive all of it, but hold on to it, escrow, whatever. So that's, here's our first one. 15-year projected profit of $136,000 shows over a 15-year period. This property should gain about 19%. Here's the interior. This is a little bit of the common area maintenance I was talking about. This is the kind of stuff that really, it's minor, but it's very attractive. Your HOF is going to take care of this. Here's the inside. You can see it's well appointed. Looks nice, some great bookcases, nice bathroom. This home's moving ready. Next one, actually also in Noblesville. Now this home is about the same price, but it's larger. This home's 2,500 square feet. So a little bit newer, built in 2004. By the way, this is also considered an A-class property, same as the previous one. So still in the Indianapolis market, Noblesville schools. Here's what our cash flow looks like. Rents are projected to be a little bit higher, primarily because we got more space to work with. So you're at $1,550 a month. Here's your mortgage payment, taxes, insurance, management fee, HOA fee, total monthly expenses. This one has a $550 a month cash flow. Less your maintenance reserves and vacancy, which will go in your bank, leaves you with still $250 a month. Over a 15-year period, $152,000 projected profit with a 22% return. So that's why they call Indiana the cash flow state. Let's look at something different. Oh, here's the interior. So one more. You can see vaulted ceilings in this case, fenced backyard. All the things that's going to be important to a tenant. Makes it safe. Excellent neighborhood. Excellent schools. What's not to like? Everything looks brand new. This is a product that we've really worked hard at. I'm really excited about. This is we were lucky enough to work with a builder by the name of Westport Homes, and they own 9 lots in this community in Brownsburg. It's a outstanding school system, very close to this new mall I mentioned earlier that it's called the Metropolis Mall. This is some duplex product that we've got available at some incredibly affordable prices. These are what the units will look like. Here's they're A-class properties, 6 bedrooms, so each side is 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. 2,700 square feet overall. Brand new construction. These guys are not built. So this is an existing one that's spoken for. A week ago we had 9 lots available. We're down to 7. So this product is going quickly because of how attractive it is. look at our cash flow a little bit. Here's your list price. Rents are at $2,700 a month for the building. Here's your monthly payment, taxes, insurance, management fee. The HOA fee is higher. They take care of the exterior on these buildings, so there's nothing for the owner to take care of. Here's your total monthly expenses, and there's the monthly cash flow. Really, really nice. Estimated maintenance and rent would be lower, of course, because these are brand new. These homes, in working with the builder, it's going to be about 120 to 150 days from if you decide to pull the trigger today. It's going to take about 120 to 150 days for these to be completed. We have 7 lots remaining, and I'm sure they're going to go in the next 30 days. So they've really done. Pardon me. I'm actually very excited about the product. It's in fact, the next sheet I think shows you a bit about that. But here's your monthly cash flow, projected profit over 15 years, and there's your average return. Brand new homes. A little bit about the product of the builder. It is an experienced builder. They've been in central Indiana, Ohio, Illinois for probably 25 years now. They've built thousands of homes. The homes are built very energy efficient. One of the things that they've offered our guys is, for those of you that are green, they have a wrap that goes around the home that's actually heated and applied to the exterior of the home prior to the brick or the siding going on, which makes it for a very, very energy efficient home. The other thing they've done, which I'm excited about from a cosmetic standpoint, they're offering a 9-foot ceiling versus an 8-foot ceiling. Now that doesn't seem like much, but that makes this from a kind of a cookie cutter type product to a high-end product. That extra foot really makes a difference. They've also got taller windows. They've got upgraded bathrooms, 2-car garage. That's something that we don't see often. Large 6-foot stained glass doors, interior arches, doors, things like that. That just those few extra little touches really make it a very, very nice product. So this is something I'm really excited about. I think if you're interested, you better talk quickly, because I'm sure that they're going to go fast. Here's a little different product.
And
this is a Ford. Yep.
Can I just pause really quick?
Absolutely.
I just want to mention, because we do have some new investors on here, and I'm getting some questions about financing. I want to go into a little bit more detail about explaining the down payments that you're seeing on here. So for those of you that have less than 4 mortgages, your down payment on a single-family property, you can go as low as 20%, and I know we had 25% on those other 2 homes. And then if you have less than 4 mortgages and you're looking at buying a multi-unit, like these duplexes, you could actually go 25% down. We put 25% on the single-family and 30% on the multifamily for several reasons. One, we do have a number of investors who have more than 4 loans, and those would be their minimum down payments. But another reason is that when you do put an extra 5% down, you're going to get a lower interest rate, and you're also going to get higher cash flow. So for me personally, I really feel the benefit in being a long-term investor of putting 25% down when I can, or 30% down on a multifamily, especially since it's going to get me a lower rate. I'm going to get higher cash flow, and I just have a little bit more of equity in the property. So I just wanted to clarify that really quickly. And on these duplexes here, since they are brand new, we put 5% estimated maintenance instead of the regular 8% like you've been seeing on a lot of these, because as Ed mentioned, there's going to be years and years where you'll have little to no maintenance. Of course, we can't guarantee that, but on a brand new property, you're obviously going to have reduced maintenance. Ed, I mean, you're doing an excellent job kind of clarifying some of the information here, but if you guys do have more questions, keep typing them in, and we'll make sure to get to as many as we can as possible. So Ed, I'll hand it back to you.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Scott. Scott, I can't see the questions, so feel free at any time to jump in and stop. I mean, I think it's important that everybody understands, because we hate to, you know, if I'm moving too quick and somebody's thinking about something, they may not hear the next bit of information. So by all means, feel free to jump in, and let's make sure that everybody gets all their questions answered. So, all right, this is a little different type of product. If you guys remember, I talked a little bit about the Super Bowl. Indianapolis knew, and here's what happens when you find out that the city actually goes to the Super Bowl committee several years in advance to find out whether or not they're going to be awarded the Super Bowl, kind of like the Olympics or anything else. So we knew that we were going to get a Super Bowl, but part of the commitment was we had to make certain areas of the city, we had to make improvements. One of those was a local high school that was very close to downtown, because the visiting teams needed to have facilities where their players could practice, etc. So the city made millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of improvements. They put in an aquatic center. They put in a what's called a legacy project. So they basically dumped tons of money into a very concentrated area, very close to the city. As a result of that, that really spurred a bunch of growth. That was in 2010 and 11. We had the Super Bowl in 2012. That has continued. There's an area right near the city that's called St. Clair Place. If you guys want, you can Google it. You can check it out. There's a website called Surprising St. Clair, and it is a destination right now for a lot of the local guys. They figured out that if the city's going to spend millions of dollars, they want to figure out how they can get right next door to that. So my very first experience 15 years ago in buying a home was in an area just like this called Fall Creek Place. Little did I know that the city had a master plan that I was totally unaware of. I bought a 4-unit building and called a girl at the city across the street and said, I'd like to buy this duplex. And she said, are you going to live in it? I said, no, I'm not. She said, well, then we can't sell it to you because we're only allowing owners to move in and live there. I said, well, that's fine. I bought this 4-plex across the street for investment purposes. She says, yeah, we know. We're going to tear yours down. And I freaked out. It's my first one. I had no clue what that meant. So I said, what do I do? And she said, don't worry. We're going to have to appraise the home and make you an offer. So they did. 30 days later, I sold it back to the city. I made a profit. I thought I was the smartest guy around because I made money on my very first deal. But the message that came through to me was this. Anytime I can be in the path of growth where the city's spending money, that is a good thing for me as an investor. So what this 4-unit building is, and although that's not a very good picture because it was taken today with a horrible camera, but it is in this area called St. Clair Place. Let's look at the cash flow. The purchase price for a 4-unit building, $120,000. There's your down payment. The rents, excuse me, are $2,200 a month. Here's why. Each unit is a 1-bedroom. There's 4 in this building. So the rents would be $550 per unit. Mortgage payment, $419. Your taxes at $125. Insurance costs, management fee, HOA. There is no HOA fee here. There is a small utility that the owner would have to pay. Tenants would cover all utilities. This building is all electric, with the exception of the water. That is an owner-paid expense. And the reason for that is there's only one water meter, but it is shared with 4 different tenants. So that cost is going to average to the owner about $25 monthly per unit, so $100. Here's your monthly expense, but check out the income. So the income is awesome on this unit. Figure out your estimated maintenance and vacancy. To tell you briefly, so here's your total cash flow, 603. Here's what I can tell you briefly about this building. It's been completely renovated. It's got brand new electric. The bones are old. The bones are 100 years old. But if you know anything about construction, they build them better then than they do now. So this one is bulletproof. But as far as the structure and the bones, however, the plumbing was dated, the electrical was dated, so that's been removed, and all brand new electric, brand new plumbing's been installed. It has brand new windows, all new drywall. Kitchens are brand new, so we got 4 brand new kitchens, 4 brand new baths, and all your flooring is updated. So for practical purposes, the inside and the outside's all new. The bones are the only thing that we kept. But an awesome, awesome product in a really neat area. I tell people it's about a 5-minute Uber ride to downtown, the hot spots. There's an area called Massachusetts Avenue, which is really, really cool. This is blocks away from an area called Woodruff Place, where there's $500,000 homes. This home actually sits across the street from an elementary school. So literally, if you walk down either one of those sets of stairs, there is an elementary school on the other side. From the photo, if you guys can see, and then we'll move on, to the right of this home, you can see where some of the siding looks like it's missing, or it's kind of raw wood. That building is being renovated as we speak. The one to the left of it is very, very nice. So you got a really nice home to the left. The right one is being totally renovated. Across the street, you got an elementary school. So that's kind of your neighborhood and the graphics. You can check it out. Look up surprisingstclair.com. You can find that online. Pretty neat area. I think next up we've got a word from our property manager, Ivan Barrett. I've been working with Ivan for a while. I've known of Ivan, guys, for 6 or 7 years. I have been to his office, and I have no reason. Ivan's not paying me for anything, but I can tell you that, in my opinion, he's very impressive. I've worked over the years because I mainly sell property. I don't manage property, but I've referred investors to a number of different people. I can tell you that Ivan Barrett is a quality organization. As impressive as he is, I've also been to his office and I've met his staff, and they're equally as impressive. So I think what's important, if you're an investor, it really comes down to who's going to work with you day to day to make sure your clients are taken care of, that they're happy. And number one thing is to keep the rent coming in. And I think Ivan's the guy that can help you do that. So with that said, Ivan, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Ed. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yep.
Great. I've had my phone on mute for a while, so I just want to make sure it still works. Hey, everybody out there and on the West Coast and the Marshall Reddick Network, thanks for having me on the call. I know you guys have been getting a lot of information tonight, so I will do my best to keep it short and sweet. However, this is the kind of stuff that I can talk about till the sun comes up. So every now and then these guys have to tell me to shut up. So hopefully I won't need that tonight. I've got some notes here from Ed and Scott's presentation, as well as what you can see on the slide there. I am also very easy to Google stock, very easy to find on the internet. My name, Ivan, and my last name, Barrett, which again is B-A-R-R-A-T-T, is very unique. So I'm very easy to find on LinkedIn, Google. Please look me up. Feel free to stalk me at your leisure. So a little bit about us. As it says here, we've managed a lot of property. It's all residential, single family, small multifamily, up to apartment communities. And we manage A, B, and C assets. We don't manage the war zones. So I steer Marshall Reddick and any clients I can away from any war zones. That's not what we do. Few updates. We are a full-service team now of 16 employees. If you've already researched me, you'll know that I got my start in property management when I was 7. You know, a dad could make his kid mow his rental property lawns without being arrested. So I've been in the in the property management business a long time, and now we are a full-service team of 16 people. Dad always says, dig the well before you're thirsty, so we're continuing to hire as we experience our slow and steady growth that we've been blessed to have, and Marshall Reddick's a big part of that. It's hard to believe most managers don't get this, but it's a pretty simple rule that we use. If we treat our clients really well and deliver on our mission, which is to give good service, communication, transparency, follow-up, and financial data at your fingertips, whether you own one unit or you own 100 plus. If we achieve that mission, we keep getting more and more clients and real estate networks. A little bit about what we don't do. We are not brokers. I am a realtor and a broker, but I do not sell homes. I do not buy homes. Every now and then I might represent myself, but that's about it. We are 24/7, 365 asset managers. We've got a team that serves the whole gamut of that, from A to Z, from marketing to tenant selection and tenant underwriting, which is very important to us. That's where you and me and my team are tied at the hip. Better job I do it putting good residents into your homes. Fewer headaches I have, the easier my life is. So that's where we are. We are equally motivated, all the way through to our maintenance staff that helps fix those running toilets and those leaky faucets at a price that's cost-effective compared to your average handyman or outside contractor. I won't go through this line for line, but we've got a great system set up for communication and follow-up. That's the biggest issue in my industry right now, is being a large management company. How do you handle all the noise, the service calls, the residents, the toilets, the financial questions? We've got a very sophisticated platform and a great team that gets me great compliments from Scott and Ed. They're the ones that make me look good. I've been at this now for 15 years myself. Again, got an early experience in real estate. Was lucky enough to have an attorney/landlord father, so I've got that risk management, landlord DNA built into the system. And after school, worked for a large company for a long time, learned the ropes, and getting to work on several different kinds of projects, large and small, before starting my own thing 5 years ago. And again, since then, we've grown it from 0 to 50 million in assets under management. We're so proud to be part of Marshall Reddick's team, and it's very gratifying to be the go-to property manager for one of the country's best markets. We've been doing this now with Marshall, I think, pretty close to 4 years now, and they're a demanding group, and they expect a high level of service, and that's the company that we're working to build every day. So we're a great fit for that, and it's been a lot of fun working together and getting educated investors that, even if they're buying their first unit, you know, they're asking the tough questions. You guys are doing your due diligence, your market research. You understand all the basic terminology, financing, return on investment versus a return on cash, you know, versus a yield on the property, and how leverage can change that. So it's been a lot of fun. A few notes from the presentation really quickly. I do want to give a shout out to Ed real quick. You know, whether you like Ed or not, or you like me, I would highly stress that you work with a broker that specializes in investment property sales. It's a whole different ballgame, and if you're connecting to somebody that's used to schlepping around owner-occupants all Saturday and Sunday, they're not going to perform at a level that you need when you're looking at an investment acquisition strategy. It's just a whole different set of variables and a different ballgame. And if the brokerage house like Ed doesn't have a team in place like Ed doesn't understand that you might be putting in 10 offers on 10 different properties, and doesn't see it as you see it, it's all going to fall apart. Ed's been in the game a long time. I've done deals with Ed personally. I know Marshall Reddick's known him a long time. He knows his stuff. So I just want to get that out of the way. I've already talked about what we do and again, what we don't do. We're not a turnkey operation. We don't renovate homes and sell them. We are strictly management. We do one thing, and we do it really well. A couple economic highlights. I do want to get back to the market real quick. Ed had a lot of good information in there, but I also wanted to just touch on a few things because Indianapolis, don't take my word for it, look it up. It's a very diverse employment situation here. We're actually recognized as one of the nation's top 4 life sciences communities, and we're a medical device hub. A couple things that are going to be a pretty big deal now and into the future. We're not just a flyover city. Ed mentioned us as being a distribution capital. That's absolutely true. You guys may have heard of a company called Amazon. We have 3 of those fulfillment centers here in Indianapolis. We're now the 6th metro in the country that offers Amazon Now. My wife and I love that. If I need shaving cream, I can get it in an hour delivered to my door. Pretty cool what we're doing here. We're also part of the automotive and advanced manufacturing renaissance. We've got a huge university with approaching 35,000 students downtown. We're a big healthcare hub, and you can look this up on your own. We're 2.5% job growth this year, which puts us under 5% unemployment rate. Vacancy in the market, that's always a question I get, is very stable. The average over the entire market is 7%, so 93% occupancy. Even with all the construction, most major metros are building a lot of new apartments. Even with that, because of our job growth and us becoming more of a destination for graduates in the Midwest, as our downtown continues to experience this renaissance, this resurgence. And Ed mentioned urban flight. Next 100 years, next 50 years, we're talking about the great inversion. Indianapolis is one of those lucky metros that's doing it right. As we continue to see that, we're seeing a lot of demand for millennials to come here because of our job environment. That's it for most of my notes, except I do want to touch, I know the new construction stuff's pretty much sells itself. It's great A, B class assets, great suburban communities, municipalities that have excellent schools, high class real estate. For those of you that like to be a little bit farther out on the risk curve because you want a little bit higher of a return, the 10th Street corridor is definitely a place to focus on. Real quick before I forget, do not do your research in a redeveloping area using Google Street View. Unless you look at that little date that it always shows what you're looking at, your research will be flawed. If you go to that street view and you look at it, it says 2011. A lot has changed in 5 years in that area. 2011 is pre-Super Bowl. The economic development there is strong, but also what that area is experiencing is a lot of organic demand. The hipsters, what I fondly refer to as the pink dollar, double income, no kids, different kinds of households are starting to move into that area. Every time I drive through there, there's another house getting renovated. That being said, there's still plenty of ugly betties on the block. It's not perfect yet. It is a redeveloping area. But the pro to that is you get a great asset at a great price with a higher return. One bedrooms in that area would not scare me. It is more of a urban transient environment. Of course, it's my job to pick good tenants. I just got word from Ed tonight that it's not occupied yet. Barrett Asset Management loves that because we get to help pick who goes in there. And I promise we would set the bar high. I think that's a great area to invest in. I think these guys are going to tell me to shut up any minute, so I'm going to stop now. And I'm happy to stay on the line as long as you guys need me to ask any specific questions about our management company.
Ivan, you're the man. This is Scott, and there's a lot of different property managers out there, but I wanted to mention that when we started working with you back in 2011, I think it was, Myself and Ross vetted a whole handful of property managers, and I do know a lot of property managers in that market. You are one of a kind, my friend, so I really appreciate you joining us. I know that we're pretty much at the conclusion here, but I wanted to toss out one or two questions before we wrap up, because we have gotten some really good questions in. So I'm just going to throw some questions at you. If you can, try and keep it short, just because I want to be mindful of our time here. But
Sure.
you have a question about the number of units that you manage, and then what is the occupancy rate of the rentals at any specific time?
Sure, I get that question a ton. Real quick, if everybody's got a pen and paper, you can talk to Scott later. All my owners have my mobile, 317-590-1978. 317-590-1978. Every owner that works with me has my mobile. Fair warning, my wife might pop with our third child tomorrow or 2 weeks from now. Yeah, so when number 3 comes, you might experience a little bit of delay getting a hold of me, but I'm always pretty accessible. It just may take a little bit longer to hear back from me. Our occupancy across our entire portfolio right now is in I would say the mid to low 90s. Bear in mind, we do have some lower income affordable apartments that pulls that down. If you just look at my single families, I think we're north of 95. If I had to bet $10 right now, I'd say we're closer to 97% occupied. And our one bedrooms in our urban areas, I've got one right now, and I'll probably have it rented within the week. Is there a second part to that question?
Yeah, and then how long does this could turn into a long answer, but just try to keep it short if you can. How long does it typically take to evict somebody in the state of Indiana?
Okay, Indiana is one of the freest states in the nation. Do some research, you'll see. If they're super, super smart, it takes, and they know the game, it takes about 90 days. Usually we can get somebody out in 30 to 45. And a lot of the times we will throw out one last diplomatic attempt to get them to just leave and hold that last carrot out. Hey, we can avoid filing an eviction on you if you just get out. Sometimes that motivates them to keep the place clean. If they think they can get their security deposit back, it's still a loss to the owner, but it is a lot less of a loss than it is going through the entire eviction process, which usually costs about $500, and on average we get them out in 45 days.
Awesome. Okay, one last question, and then we're going to wrap up. Do you have any handle on how long the average tenant stays? I'm sure that data is probably not super easy to get, but we have a question on, are these yearly leases, which the answer is yes. You get somebody in on it. When you qualify a tenant, it's a 12-month lease, maybe in some cases longer. But do you have any handle on how long they typically stay?
Yeah, that's a super loaded question. I hate averages because it varies across asset classes. The best I can say is we try to do our best to rent to good people, and we try to take care of them, provide good service. I've got tenants that have been with me since I started my company. One thing you will find on higher class assets, the con is people tend to find houses and move out quicker, so they tend to only stay a couple of years, 2 years. The good news is they have really good credit if they're buying a house, and they want to keep it that way. So I've always got this big stick in my back pocket, and those people tend to take better care of the property and leave it like they found it. So more turnover, a lot less turnover costs.
Awesome. Ivan, thank you so much. That was a lot of good info in a short amount of time. And folks, if we didn't get to your question, we have Kristen here, our real estate advisor, who's going to follow up with you. Ivan gave you his contact information. We'll make sure that you guys also get connected to Ed New, our regional rep. So as we wrap up here, if we could just go to the next slide here, Ed, if you want to move forward on that. I want to introduce you guys to Brett Gilliland, our preferred financier, our main preferred mortgage lender. Brett's office is here in Orange County, California, but they are licensed in Indiana, as well as Texas, Tennessee, Arizona, and California. You may have seen Brett at some of our meetings. You may have met his partner, Reed Hazard. If you're looking at using leverage, and if you think there's a chance that you can use conventional financing, I would give Brett a call or shoot him an email. Of course, there's no obligation to actually buy a property, but it is important to make sure that you know your abilities and know your options ahead of time. I don't have a slide for it, but Marshall Reddick Real Estate also offers private financing. So if you think that you're not able to qualify for conventional financing, whether it's your credit score, your debt-to-income ratios, maybe you're self-employed and you write off a lot of your expenses, we do offer private financing, and the only requirement is a down payment. It's 15-year fixed loans and also a 30-year fixed loan, so no adjustable rate loans. Our website has more information about it, and I can also have Kristen reach out to you if you'd like to discuss all the details. Ed, thank you. Okay, last poll here, and go ahead and this is the very last one, and this is just a fun little quiz here. How do you calculate the cash-on-cash return of a particular property? So is it your monthly cash flow divided by the purchase price, your monthly cash flow divided by the down payment, the annual rent divided by the purchase price, or the... Are you guys able to see this, by the way? Ed, Ivan, are you guys able to see the slide in front of you?
Yep, I'm here. I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, cool. This is a fun little quiz, and I'll give out the answer here in a moment.
Scott, I thought we should do a quiz about how old Ivan is. He said he started cutting grass when he was 10. He's been in the business 15 years. That makes him 22, but he just told us he's got 3 kids. He's a busy guy.
Well, unfortunately, I was 7 when I started, but it doesn't make me any younger. I'm actually 37 now. My dad motivated me to not continue in the pursuit of manual labor and get an education. That's yeah, that's lesson taught. I hated mowing lawns by the end of that first summer. Unfortunately, I had to keep doing it for a while.
You learned the lesson of a hard day's work and of appreciating your job.
That's right. So, he said, hey, you want to quit? Just go to college.
Yeah. Every single one of you answered correctly, so pat on the back. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So kudos. We have some very intelligent investors on the webinar tonight. All right, so I think just in summary here, you guys have met the whole team tonight. You've met Ed New, our regional rep. You've met our property manager, Ivan Barrett. Ed, if you could just advance one more time there, just click on the, there you go. I've introduced you to our main preferred lender, Brett at AmeriFirst. And then, of course, I without intention, skipped over our real estate advisor, Kristen. So here is Kristen's contact info. And the way this works for next steps is to set up a phone call or interact with Kristen. Kristen will be able to give you guys answers to all the questions, some of them that unfortunately we didn't get to cover tonight. I do want to mention that the webinar was recorded, so if you wanted to watch a recording, we're going to email that out to you tomorrow. The properties that Ed showed, 2 of the single-family homes, those are listed on the MLS, meaning that everybody has access to those properties. They're not just exclusive to Marshall Reddick. So if you liked one of those single-family homes, we're going to help you take action as quickly as possible to make sure that you get that. And if you didn't see a property that fit what you're looking for, let us know, and Kristen and Ed can help you guys find the properties, types of properties that you are looking for. I think personally that we did a pretty good job with these multi-units with very high cash flow and these single-family homes. So I hope you guys felt the same. I hope you learned a lot about the Indianapolis market. I want to thank Ed and Ivan again for joining us here at the wee hours of the night in Indianapolis. And I want to thank all of you for joining us. And I know we went a little over, and I really appreciate you guys staying on. So we're really excited, as you can see, about the team that we have here. We're excited about the opportunity to find some really good properties. And again, there is Kristen's phone number, 949-885-5162. Her email, ctabar@marshallreddick. All of the advice and all of the mentoring that we offer is free, and we've been told for years and years and years that it is the largest value add that we offer. So I would take advantage of her knowledge and her experience to have her help you figure out your plan and your time frame, and hopefully help you guys invest in Indianapolis. And we look forward to working with you guys and building your financial futures together. So I want to thank everybody once again for joining us. Have a lovely evening, and we'll talk to you soon. And good night, everybody.